Hey, welcome to a new video. In 2020, security staff at a construction site in Birmingham had the fright of their lives. Surveillance footage captured a ghostly figure of a woman walking across the site in the middle of the night. It happened in the early hours of Tuesday, August 18, 2020, on Sherborne Street in central Birmingham. The mysterious woman, dressed in a gown and holding an object, was caught on a motion-sensitive security camera. But when guards checked the area minutes later, no one was there. The director of the security company said he couldn't sleep a wink that night after seeing the footage. What the figure actually was remains a mystery to this day. The surveillance video was later shared on social media, where it was viewed thousands of times and sparked heated debate.
Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video.
Imagine you're a real estate agent, casually walking through a home, and you open a closet door, only to find a secret dungeon. That's exactly what happened to Jessica Law, a realtor from Florida, during a house showing. She shared the bizarre discovery on TikTok, and the video went viral instantly. In her 10-plus years in real estate, she'd never seen anything like it. What she assumed was a regular closet in a back bedroom turned out to lead to a thick iron door, and behind it, a narrow staircase leading down. That alone is strange. Basements are extremely rare in Florida due to the high water table. Once downstairs, Jessica saw that the room was outfitted with electricity, water, and a dehumidifier, suggesting it was meant to house people or something else. The concrete, windowless chamber had a worn rug on the floor and a red beanbag chair in the corner, making the space seem far too sinister to be just a storm shelter. Viewers on TikTok responded with concern, urging Jessica to call the police to check for any missing persons. Others speculated it could be a fallout shelter, but Jessica pointed out that the heavy barred door was highly unusual for a typical hideout. In 2012, a major construction project in San Antonio, Texas, faced massive delays due to a spider. But not just any spider. While working on a new $15.1 million tunnel, a biologist accidentally discovered the break-and-bat cave meshweaver, a critically rare blind spider that hadn't been seen in over 30 years. Found in a 20 feet or 6 meter deep hole in the highway median, the spider, no bigger than a dime, was placed on the endangered species list in 2000. The break-and-bat cave meshweaver exists only in Bexar County, Texas, and its rediscovery was likened to finding a new Galapagos island due to the area's unique biodiversity. After the discovery, the entire project was halted, and biologists began investigating the site, eventually identifying 19 more similar caves or sinkholes. One tiny spider caused a multi-million-dollar delay and made headlines worldwide. Incredible, right? In the 1970s, near a construction site in Vermont, a mysterious photo was taken that some believe shows Bigfoot. Also known as Sasquatch, Bigfoot is a legendary creature said to roam remote forests, especially in North America. In the background of the photo, a large human-like figure appears on the left side, but further investigation revealed there was nothing in that spot that could explain the appearance. Witnesses described the figure as a huge, hairy, ape-like creature standing 6 to 10 feet, or 2 to 3 meters tall, with massive feet. Bigfoot legends date back centuries, originating in Native American folklore. The modern Bigfoot craze took off after the famous Patterson-Gimlin film of 1967, captured in the forests of California. Do you think they really saw Bigfoot at the construction site? Or was it something else entirely? Let me know in the comments. For years, locals in Chile's Atacama Desert knew that ancient whale bones littered the rocky landscape. The area was even nicknamed Cerro Balena, or Whale Hill. But it wasn't until 2010 that the world discovered just how extraordinary the site truly was. During the expansion of the Pan-American Highway, construction workers stumbled upon a massive marine fossil graveyard. Archaeologists uncovered over 40 whale skeletons, including dozens of baleen whales. Normally, you'd find whale skeletons one at a time, but here there were dozens clustered together. This raised big questions. How did so many massive sea creatures, top predators in the food chain, end up in this one spot? Even more puzzling, nearly all the skeletons were lying the same way, on their backs, bellies up, and facing the same direction. Researchers believe the whales died at sea or shortly after beaching, and were quickly buried by sand, preserving them so well. The skeletons were found in 4 distinct layers, suggesting multiple mass strandings over a span of more than 10,000 years, roughly 6 to 9 million years ago. And it wasn't just whales. Scientists also found fossils of seals, an extinct sperm whale, a tusked whale resembling a walrus, and even a swimming sloth. The Betto de Borgo is an elevated passageway that connects Vatican City with Castel Sant'Angelo. It's a fortified corridor approximately half a mile long that runs along the medieval city walls of Rome from Vatican City to the Castel Sant'Angelo, originally built as a mausoleum for Emperor Hadrian. The passage was constructed in the 13th century during the reign of Pope Nicholas III, and was intended as a safe escape route for the Pope in times of danger, especially during invasions or sieges. The idea was that the Pope could move quickly from the Vatican to the safety of the Castel Sant'Angelo, which was easier to defend against attackers. The Betto de Borgo was famously used during the sack of Rome in 1527, when troops of the Holy Roman Empire Charles V invaded the city. Pope Clement used the passage to escape from the Vatican to Castel Sant'Angelo, where he remained safely for several months. Today, the Betto de Borgo is occasionally open to the public, allowing visitors to walk in the footsteps of the popes who had once used this passage for safety. When construction began on a sewer in Alberta, it was almost immediately halted because a very interesting find was discovered. 70-million-year-old dinosaur fossils and a dinosaur tooth was a surprise to everyone when they were excavated. It happened in Edmonton, and this Canadian city is known for several discoveries of dinosaur bones and other ancient fossils. This video was captured on a farm without goats, where a farmer went outside only to encounter a creature with horns. When the farmer saw this, he was immediately startled. The creature looked like a hybrid of a human and a goat, and cautiously observed the farmer before retreating into the nearby bushes. The association between goats and the devil has various origins and interpretations. In some religious and mythological contexts, goats are associated with sin rejection and sacrifice. For example, in the Bible, goats were used as sacrificial animals, and the concept of the scapegoat symbolized the transfer of sins. The Greek god Pan, depicted as half human, half goat, was labeled as the devil by early Christians, further reinforcing the connection between goats and satanic imagery. What could the farmer have captured on camera here? Unfortunately, we may never know exactly. Similar creatures appear in Greek mythology, with the lower body of a goat and the upper body of a human. They are often associated with nature, force, and untamed aspects of the world. Here we have the Shani Rift system in northern China, an incredibly complex system of tectonic faults, stretching for at least 560 miles. This system is notable for its S-shaped geometry and significant lateral displacement that it's undergone. It contains deep sedimentary layers and historically has been a source of devastating earthquakes. Consider, for example, the earthquakes that occurred in 1303, 1556, 1626, 1695, and 1850, claiming hundreds of thousands of lives. It stands as living proof of the power of Mother Nature working over the ages to create and maintain an intriguing geological phenomenon. Additionally, this place is where the past and present converge, prompting future generations to think about the geological evolution for other human settlements. Nestled within the scorching sand dunes of the Karakum Desert lies a mysterious area that covers about 70% of Turkmenistan. In this place resides a surreal spectacle known as the Gates of Hell. While its official name may be Darvaza Crater, the origin of this massive glowing pit remains shrouded in mystery. Darvaza is a flaming gas crater that has been spewing fire for decades. According to legend, Soviet geologists were searching for oil in the heart of the desert in 1971, when they unexpectedly tapped into a large pocket of natural gas. The earth beneath them gave way and collapsed, creating 3 large sinkholes. To prevent the methane from escaping into the atmosphere, it was decided to ignite one of the sinkholes, assuming it would extinguish in a few weeks. According to local Turkmen geologists, the colossal crater with a diameter of 226 feet or 69 meters and a depth of 100 feet or 30 meters first appeared in the 1960s. Intriguingly, due to the immense value placed on gas and oil during the Soviet rule in Turkmenistan, all data related to the creation of the crater is classified as top secret information. Have you ever wanted an alligator as a pet? Probably not, and this family didn't want one either, but the alligator just invited itself into their pool. This happened somewhere in the US state of Florida, and if you live there, you may well come across this animal. The size of the alligator in the video surprised literally everyone, including the police. They estimated the huge reptile to be an incredible 11 feet, or 3.3 meters long. It's always a surprise when ancient scientists reveal or discover something unusual. This time, nearly 10-million-year-old teeth were found in 2016 in Germany. The 2 caramel-colored fossil teeth belonged to a primate, and one tooth was identified as a canine, and the second as an upper molar. It's also safe to say that the teeth that were found are the first of their kind to emerge from that area in the past 80 years. Herbert Lutz, scientist and director of the Natural History Museum of Maine, stated that the teeth are very similar to some extinct African relatives of modern humans. What's even more interesting is that they found that the teeth have a lot in common with the Ardipithecus ramidus and Australopithecus afarensis, which are extinct human relatives. H.H. Holmes, often referred to as America's first serial killer, is infamous for his building known as the Murder Castle, located in Chicago. This three-story building, designed and constructed by Holmes in the Inglewood neighborhood, initially served as a hotel to house visitors from the 1893 World's Columbus Exposition. However, it was much more than just a hotel. It was a house of horrors, designed to facilitate his deadly activities. The castle was a maze of confusing hallways, dead ends, and staircases that led nowhere, and even rooms that were soundproofed and sealed from the inside. Some rooms had gas lines to asphyxiate victims, while others had trapdoors and secret passages for moving bodies undetected. Holmes hired and fired multiple contractors during the construction, so no one knew the entire design of the building. There's a myth that tunnels beneath the castle connect the building to other structures or underground chambers. After Holmes' arrest in 1894, the castle was thoroughly investigated by authorities. The gruesome discoveries shocked the nation and garnered significant media attention. The building itself was set on fire by arsonists in 1895 and later demolished. Today, a post office stands on the site where the castle once stood. In April 2013, Professor Calvin from the University of Minnesota received a message from farmers Bruce and Nelva Lilienthal. The couple shared photos of a peculiar stone they had discovered a few years earlier while clearing their cornfield in Arlington, Minnesota. The stone measured about 16 by 12 inches and was about 2 inches thick. What caught their attention was its surprising weight of 33 pounds, 15 kilograms, 3 times heavier than a typical stone of similar size on Earth. Upon investigation, it was found that the stone consisted of iron and contained about 8% nickel, a characteristic feature of meteorites. Terrestrial iron objects typically contain minimal amounts of nickel, whereas iron stones from space usually have a nickel content of 5 to 20%. The microscope also revealed a characteristic pattern of nickel-iron crystals, which is exclusive to meteorites. Professor Calvin strongly believes that the meteorite belongs to a rare class of non-magnetic meteorites that originate from molten pools on asteroids, formed by the impact of other rocks. Have you ever heard about the spectacular Kamo eruption in Hawaii in 2011? This remarkable event began with the inflation of a crater on the Kilauea volcano, followed by a significant increase in seismic activity. On March 5th of that year, the crater floor suddenly collapsed to an incredible depth of 371 feet, exposing the glowing hot crater walls to the eyes of the onlookers. What ensued was a sequence of seismic tremors and earthquakes, a dizzying dance of the Earth itself, ultimately resulting in the stunning Kamo eruption. This eruption occurred between March 5th and March 9th, and it was an explosive spectacle of unprecedented beauty and destructive power. The eruptive activity fluctuated constantly between various fissures, creating a symphony of fire and smoke that illuminated the sky above Hawaii. Volcanic activities are unpredictable and wield immense forces that shape our Earth, while also emphasizing the eternal cycle of creation and destruction. A 69-year-old farmer named Michael Woodson was looking for a missing cow when he spotted a 40-foot or 12-meter-long humpback whale on one of his fields. At first, he wondered if it was a hoax, but since there was no evidence of cars or machinery large enough to transport a real whale, the theory was ignored. What did come to light were a lot of calls to authorities from people who saw a strange flying object flying over the area. How do you think this whale ended up in the field? Sinkholes are a recurring phenomenon in Guatemala City. For instance, in 2007, 3 people and several houses disappeared into the earth. But nothing could prepare the city for what happened on May 30th, 2010. A massive hole, approximately 59 feet or 18 meters in diameter and 30 stories deep, suddenly opened in the heart of Guatemala City. It swallowed a 3-story building and a house, with reports of one person losing their life in the incident. Sinkholes typically form when underground rivers or water reservoirs erode the rock, causing the underground above to collapse. However, Guatemala City is mainly built on weak materials like volcanic pumice, leading to sinkholes that form extraordinarily quickly, with little time to escape. The cause of the formation is often attributed to Tropical Storm Agatha. Some specialists speculate that broken underground pipes caused water to flow beneath the building, contributing to the formation of this massive hole. Guatemalan officials worked urgently to locate the leak and fill the hole to prevent further widening. Filling a hole of this size, however, could take years, especially in the challenging conditions of Guatemala City's slums, where transportation is quite slow. Another bizarre find was discovered in a backyard somewhere in Canada while mowing the lawn. The couple discovered a bunch of bones, and at first they thought they were fake. However, they kept digging to find out what they were, and to see if they could find more than one. When experts arrived, they revealed that the remains actually belonged to a native woman who lived between the 1500s and 1600s. They even determined her age and said she was 24 years old at the time of death. In 1970, scientists began doing geological drilling on the Kola Peninsula in Siberia. The hole they made was extremely deep, and to this day is called the deepest hole in the world. Although the geologists didn't find anything unusual, they got the chance to explore mineral resources. But even before this project, there was another, and it's believed that the geologists drilled right into the center of the Earth. Or, in other words, they drilled right into hell itself. This conclusion was drawn because they had heard horrible human voices when drilling in the 14.5-kilometer hole. However, this was never confirmed, but the temperature was an incredible 1,093 degrees Celsius. Shortly after the discovery, an urban legend appeared assuring everyone that hell really exists, and is located deep underground. What's strange, however, is that many of the scientists who worked on the project resigned. Mount Rushmore is famous for its giant sculptures of 4 American presidents, but it also harbors a lesser-known feature, a hidden tunnel, often referred to as the Secret Tunnel or the Hall of Records. This tunnel was conceived by the monument sculptor Gutzon Borglum, who envisioned it as a grand archive for important American documents and artifacts. Borglum began work on the Hall of Records in 1938, intending it to be 79 feet long, 33 feet wide, and 20 feet high. The entrance was designed to remain hidden behind Lincoln's head. The interior was supposed to house bronze and glass cases containing important documents such as the U.S. Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and a history of the monument's creation. However, due to funding issues and Borglum's death in 1941, the project was never fully completed. Although the Grand Hall was never finished, the tunnel itself was partially built. In 1998, a repository was placed inside the tunnel containing 16 porcelain enamel panels. These panels hold info about the presidents depicted on the monument, the history of the United States, and an explanation of the monument's creation. You should watch this video very carefully, because it's your turn to tell us what was found there. Unfortunately, we could not identify exactly what it was, but we can say that it was something very creepy. The creature seems to have human-like hands and fingers, but what exactly could it be? What do you think? In May 2024, a peculiar sighting occurred on a farm in Chalatenango, El Salvador. Security cameras captured 2 livestock animals lying quietly on the ground at night when a small figure with a large head walked by, only to disappear from sight. This mysterious entity, described as an armless goblin, exhibited an unusual way of walking and had no visible upper limbs. The incident attracted the attention of Spanish ufologist Julio, who analyzed the security camera footage. He noted that the unknown creature walked between the animals until it reached a point where it disappeared. This intriguing sighting led to online debates, with many speculating whether the creature was a mythical being or even of extraterrestrial origin. The infamous San Andreas Fault in California may be the most iconic geological feature in the United States. This giant fault, stretching an impressive length of 808 miles, represents a true ticking time bomb beneath the sunny state. The fault formed the thrilling backdrop for the well-known movie San Andreas, starring The Rock. But in reality, the threat of this geological force is much more than just fiction. The San Andreas Fault is unique in its kind. It's a place where 2 enormous tectonic plates, the North American and the Pacific, slowly grind past each other, resulting in a particular type of earthquakes. Unlike places like Chile or Japan, where tectonic plates forcefully collide, causing massive earthquakes, California experiences a different kind of dance between the plates. This means that earthquakes here are generally not as extreme in subduction zones, but nevertheless, there's a constant buildup of tension beneath the surface. Astonishingly, the southern section of the San Andreas Fault hasn't had a major earthquake for over 300 years. But make no mistake, the geological pressure continues to increase. Science warns us that there's a terrifying 7% chance of such a mega earthquake in the next 30 years. And if that wasn't alarming enough, the chance of a magnitude 7.0 earthquake is a staggering 75%. This might not seem that different, but we must not forget the power of an earthquake increasing exponentially with each unit on the Richter scale. For instance, a magnitude 9.0 earthquake is 32 times stronger than an 8.0, and a whopping 1,000 times stronger than a 7.0. By the way, have you seen the movie San Andreas? What did you think of it? And do you like The Rock? Let me know in the comments. The path of destruction left by this boulder is mind-boggling. This strange occurrence took place in northern Italy after a landscape caused a giant boulder to roll down the mountain like a bowling ball. The boulder narrowly missed the farmhouse, coming to a stop against a barn at one point. Believe it or not, but a second boulder was found behind the house. Fortunately, the family inside got away unharmed. Dean's Blue Hole is located in the Bahamas on Long Island, and it's one of the deepest known blue holes in the world. It plunges to a depth of approximately 663 feet, or 202 meters, making it the second deepest blue hole globally after the Dragon Hole in the South China Sea. It's also the second largest blue hole, with the Belize blue hole being larger but not as deep. Dean's blue hole is surrounded by a beautiful beach and is enclosed on 3 sides by a natural rock amphitheater. This picturesque setting with its turquoise lagoon and powdery white sand adds to the allure of the hole. It's also a popular destination for divers and snorkelers, and the crystal clear water provides excellent visibility of up to 115 feet or 35 meters. The calm and sheltered nature of the blue hole, protected from strong winds and waves, even makes it suitable for novice swimmers. This find is probably the oldest in this video, as the person found a 17-million-year-old whale fossil in his backyard. According to scientists, there are only 20 whale fossils in the world, and one of them ended up in a backyard in Southern California. Gary Johnson, the man who found it, was just a teenager when he discovered the rare ancient find. When he asked the museum to move the fossil in 1978, they refused because they didn't know how to do it. One day, a man from the YouTube channel Strong and Wise decided to explore a dark cave, and what he encountered scared the hell out of him. As we can see, the cave is very dark, and it seems that the man eventually finds an object. But this is not all, because as he goes further into the cave, he comes across the head of a dragon. At least, that's what the man claims. When we play the video footage in slow motion, it does indeed look like the head of a dragon. Could it be that dragons really existed and were hiding in caves? It remains a big mystery to this day. What do you think? When the apocalypse is over, or a major extinction event occurs, this is what will keep survivors alive. The Doomsday Seed Vault, officially known as the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, is a secure seed bank, located on the remote Svalbard archipelago in the Arctic Ocean, about 800 miles from the North Pole. The primary purpose of this seed vault is to serve as a backup storage for the seeds of crops worldwide. In the event of a natural disaster, war, disease, outbreak, or climate change that threatens agricultural diversity, the stored seeds can be used to restore crops. Svalbard was chosen for its remote and secure location, high above sea level and in a geologically stable area. Deep within a sandstone mountain, the vault is built to be protected from natural and human-made threats. Thanks to the Arctic permafrost, the vault is naturally kept cool, maintaining the seeds at an optimal storage temperature of about -18 degrees Celsius. Designed to withstand earthquakes, explosions, and other dangers, the vault houses more than 1 million seed samples from virtually every country in the world. This collection includes important food crops such as rice, wheat, maize, and potatoes, as well as many lesser-known crops essential for local food security. How many times have you flushed out spiders when you noticed them in your home? Probably many times. But the thing is, it's better not to, because the spider won't make it out, and will be stuck in the drain forever. Or maybe it will turn into the Trevor Henderson sewer spider. Have you ever heard about this sewer monster? I guess you definitely don't want to run into him, so think twice before you flush spiders down the toilet. An astonishing discovery by a retired poultry farmer has fascinated experts, who have identified it as an unknown amphibian species from the Triassic period. This breathtaking fossil offers a glimpse into the life of the ancient creature when it once swam through the freshwater streams of the Sydney Basin, approximately 240 million years ago. While cleaning a sandstone slab he had purchased nearly 3 decades ago, the man discovered fossilized remains of a 5-foot-long creature older than the dinosaurs. The amphibian species, named Araneptyn supinatus, offers a captivating window into the past with its remarkably well-preserved body. Notable details include fang-like canines embedded in its head and sharp teeth around its jaws. This unique fossil belongs to a group of extinct animals known as temnospondyls, which lived both before and during the dinosaur era. Araneptyn stands out with its robust build, distinctive teeth, and fang-like canines on the roof of its mouth. This species thrived in the freshwater rivers of what is now known as the Sydney Basin during the Triassic period, 240 million years ago. While Araneptyn's head shape resembles that of the modern Chinese giant salamander, its estimated length of 4 foot makes it remarkable, as it is larger than most contemporaries from the same period. The crevice named La Butte d'Enfer has formed over time through erosion, reaching a depth of 30 feet, and spanning about 100 feet. But it's much more than just a natural wonder. It's steeped in dark legends and disturbing history, earning a sinister nickname, the Pit of Hell. According to local lore, a young man once made a disturbing pact with the devil here, resulting in the creation of this terrifying crevice. The tales and mysteries surrounding this place cast a shadow over it. The tales and mysteries surrounding this place cast a shadow of mystery and fear over it. But the chilling elements don't stop there. On stormy days, witnesses claim that terrifying cries from drowned sailors rise from the depths of the pit, further enhancing the sense of threat and doom. And there's another macabre legend. Anything that falls into the crevice seems to disappear forever, as if it's consumed by a dark force. Intriguingly, in 1949, a group of children made a disturbing discovery in this place. They found a lifeless body of a wealthy man in the water, along with a soaked suitcase. This gruesome scene revealed a sinister conspiracy. So far, we've shown you some strange and fascinating findings on farms, but the next one is downright terrifying. This story went viral on the internet a few years ago, and was about a pig that gave birth to a human hybrid offspring. The story also claimed that the hybrid did not breathe more than a few times, and that its limbs moved only a few times, causing people to quickly panic. Some people dismissed it as a natural phenomenon, while others claimed it was some kind of omen. The city of Berezhniki, located in the Urals of Russia, faces a unique and challenging situation as it slowly sinks into the earth. With a population of over 150,000, the city was built atop a potash mine, a common practice during the Soviet era. After nearly a century of mining, deep voids were left beneath the city, with the ceilings of those underground caverns supported only by walls and pillars of soluble salt. In 2006, a freshwater spring began flowing into the mine, situated approximately 722 to 1,476 feet, or 220 to 450 meters below the surface. This inflow of water dissolved the supporting pillars, resulting in building collapses and significant damage to residential areas and businesses. The city now contends with several sinkholes, with the largest one, nicknamed the Grandfather, being nearly 1,312 feet, or 400 meters wide, and over 656 feet, or 200 meters deep. The sinkhole poses a threat to the only railway line to and from the potash mines, which are a vital source of employment and economic activity in the city. The mines produce about 10% of the world's potassium. Engineers have assured authorities that no new sinkholes will form, but vigilant monitoring remains necessary. However, approximately 12,000 residents decided to leave for more stable ground. Black Swine in the Sewers of Hampstead is a famous book written by Thomas Boyle. The book tells a story about a swine that ended up in the sewers. The animal would raise its offspring there and feed them on garbage. It's not a real story, of course, but it's about the pollution that became a big problem in London in the 19th century. But maybe it's the fact that there really were ghostly creatures hiding in the sewers back then. But maybe it's true that there were really ghostly creatures hiding in the sewers back then. Unfortunately, we'll never know. A woman named Lisa Marie had just moved into a new house, and she was intrigued by the manhole cover in her backyard that showed no marks. The woman decided to check it out, and what she discovered there was a World War II bunker. The bunker was full of rubble, and together with experts, they managed to get inside. There are two theories about the bunker. The first is that the bunker was some kind of shelter for a group of factory workers, or that it was a shelter for soldiers. In February of 2013, a couple found a treasure on a private property in California Gold Country. They walked their dog on their terrain and saw a rusty tin covered with some earth and mud. There was also a rusty tin that had grown up with the tree, probably hung by the original owners. When they looked further with a metal detector, they found a pile of coins with an estimated value of $10 million. The 1,427 coins were in very good condition and dated from the year 1847 to 1894. The Saddle Ridge Hoard, as the treasure is called, is the largest discovery of gold coins ever found in the United States. According to several articles, these coins were stolen during the gold heist of the 1900s. However, the couple wanted to remain anonymous because they didn't want to get the treasure hunters on their doorstep. Do you like cheese? Then you'll probably think the following discovery is pretty cool. When archaeologists were doing excavations in Saqqara, Egypt, they found all kinds of different objects. For example, they found King Tutankhamun's chair and ancient dice. But one of the most interesting discoveries has to be an ancient piece of cheese. It was found in a broken clay in the tombs of Toms. Toms was a mayor during the reign of the pharaohs Seti I and Ramesses II. Archaeologists estimate that this cheese must have been about 3,300 years old, making it the oldest cheese in the world. When news of this discovery circulated on social media, people were quick to label the cheese as a cursed mummy cheese. In fact, experts unveiled that the cheese had been made toxic because it contained the presence of a bacterium that can cause the disease brucellosis. Symptoms of this disease include fever, pain in the joints, emaciation, and even anorexia. The Tunnel of Sarajevo was a crucial lifeline for the besieged city of Sarajevo during the Bosnian War, particularly during the Siege of Sarajevo. The Siege of Sarajevo was one of the longest sieges in modern history, lasting nearly 4 years from April 1992 to February 1996. The city, predominantly inhabited by Bosniaks, was surrounded by Bosnian Serb forces, who cut off access to food, water, medical supplies, and utilities. It was secretly constructed between March and June 1993 by the Bosnian Army. With the help of civilian volunteers, the tunnel stretched approximately half a mile under Sarajevo's airport, which was controlled by the United Nations. The airport served as a neutral zone, and the tunnel provided a vital link between the besieged city and Bosnian-controlled territory on the other side. The tunnel was 5 feet high and about 3.3 feet wide. This tunnel ensured that the city could survive the siege and maintain its resistance. If you thought we had already talked about the worst creature, you're wrong. Meet this little unusual creature that was found in a sewer somewhere in Russia. It looks like an alien, and many people assume it got stuck in the sewer and couldn't get out. According to the article, they would now have its fossil, but it's unclear what it is. The desert locust is known as the most destructive migratory pest in the world, capable of causing significant devastation. Even a small swarm can consume as much food in one day as 35,000 people. Some swarms have been reported to be as wide as 25 miles. This poses a severe threat to food security, with an estimated 13 million people at risk. And if the crisis continues, another 20 million people could be in the same danger. The historical precedent of a similar locust invasion in the 1950s that led to famine in Kenya adds to the urgency of the situation. What you see in this video was filmed in 2020 in Maralal, Kenya, and is said to be the worst desert locust invasion in 25 years. The destructive capabilities of the desert locust are well documented. A single swarm can travel up to 90 miles a day and can contain up to 80 million locusts. During the spectacular event that took place in July 2017 on the Larsen C ice shelf in Antarctica, a giant iceberg broke off, as large as Luxembourg. This was one of the most remarkable events in recent Antarctic history. The ice shelf had an area of over 2,300 square miles and a thickness of about 623 feet. Additionally, it floated above the ocean, revealing a world that had been hidden under thick ice for 120 years. The crevice that led to this massive break had been monitored by scientists for decades. In a dramatic turn, the 112-mile-long crevice suddenly split in two, with a new branch moving an astonishing distance of 9 miles. In just a few days. With only 12.5 miles of ice now holding on to a massive chunk of the shelf, the world may be on the brink of one of the most significant ice losses in Antarctic history, with potential consequences for global sea levels and climate. You probably heard of crop circles, the mysterious patterns in fields that appear at night. But did you know that there's a specific area of the world where these crop circles are a big mystery? Welcome to Wiltshire, England, associated with the ancient Stonehenge site. And here is an incredible abundance of crop circles. Reports began in the 1970s describing hieroglyphic and animal patterns in wheat, corn, and barley fields. Although some people think they come from aliens, others think the crop circles are controlled by authorities. What do you think? The Sari-Sarinama sinkholes, located in Venezuela, are situated hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest road or city. They're hidden atop flat-topped mountains called tepues, ranging in height from 1985 to 7,700 feet, or 300 to 2,350 meters. Mount Sari-Sarinama is covered in lush forest, with trees reaching heights of 49 to 65 feet, or 15 to 25 meters. To date, 4 sinkholes have been discovered on the mountaintop. The existence of these sinkholes was unknown to the wider world until pilot Harry Gibson noticed them on the mountaintop in 1961. Subsequently, expeditions were organized, and in 1974, a helicopter landed on the summit to explore them. Each of the 4 sinkholes on the mountaintop has its own unique circumference and height. The largest sinkhole has a circumference of 1,155 feet, or 352 meters, and a depth of 1,030 feet, or 314 meters. At the bottoms of some of the sinkholes, there are forest ecosystems with their own distinctive flora and fauna, including frogs and potentially new species unknown to science. What are the chances of encountering an alligator in the sewers? This next man must have certainly been lucky, because a crocodile he found in the sewers didn't attack him. The reptile was hiding there, and you can see how creepy the animal looks. But here we have other video footage that is even scarier, and it looks like the crocodile is even bigger. You definitely don't want to fall there and end up in this beast's mouth. But the next guy is a superhero. He's trying to pull an alligator out of the sewer, and he certainly has to be brave to do so. One of the coolest things you can find underground is a treasure chest. When this treasure hunter was hiking in the woods with his metal detector, his device suddenly started beeping. The man began to dig, and what he found was a metal door hidden not too deep underground. To his own surprise, the man found a chest, in which he'll mostly find treasures. The chest looked rather old, and we can only guess what was hidden inside. Would it contain something valuable like gold? When the man looked further, he found an instruction with the treasure chest, and then decided to put the chest back in the hole because he found it by accident. Later, it turned out that the chest was actually the property of a global game. So unfortunately, it wasn't a real treasure chest. In October of 2008, the mother of a 9-year-old boy was making some food in the kitchen. The boy wanted to play outside in the backyard, but after a few seconds, he ran screaming back inside. He screamed that there was a cheetah in the backyard biting into the tires of his bike and saddle. The mother looked through the kitchen window and quickly closed the door when she saw the 1.8-meter-long animal for the first time. Now, you might think this happened somewhere in Africa, because mainly cheetahs live there. But no, this happened somewhere in the suburb of England. The mother called the animal shelter, and they managed to catch the animal. It turned out that the cheetah had escaped from a nearby zoo. An interesting fact is that the cheetah is the fastest animal in the world, with a speed of 98 kilometers per hour. If you ever entered a secret passageway, let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.